What's up, Nail Geeks? I am back with a new Trisha Tries It video. This is episode 2. I've had a couple of you guys ask me about my jelly tips, and that's exactly what this entire episode is going to be about. So I want to just real quick credit this entire video to my one of my bestest nail buddies in the community, Lisa of Cosmetic Sanctuary. She's the one who gave me the idea to try the jelly tips, especially after the polygel incident. It was more of a I told you so, don't try that, but here we are. She's right. I'm just gonna have to start listening to her from now on. But she gave me the idea for it. She has a wonderful Instagram reel series where she showed you what she did and all that stuff, and from that and just from chatting with her one-on-one, this is where this all was born, essentially. So I started off gellish tips. That sounds funny. I started off with them. I got it from Sally's, and that's where the experience started for me. That's what you guys have been seeing on the channel for about 2-3 months now, while I grow out my damage, which is pretty much grown out except for my index finger, but I'm kind of really enjoying the ability to change my length and what have you. So if I want to do some crazy nail art, I've been able to do that because I have the extra real estate. And if I want to go back shorter, which I might do for some swatching that I'm going to do this weekend, I might do that and just go back to my natural nails and just be, shorties. So there's a lot of versatility with it. I'm really excited to show you guys. I know there's a ton of these out here on YouTube land that, their experiences and how to do this and all that. But I just welcome you guys to come listen to me talk about it and what my experiences are and how it works as a swatcher, essentially, how it's going to work with lots of acetone use and things like that. So I really try not to talk a whole lot in intros. Those of you who've been with me from the beginning, I just want to be straightforward to the point, but I have so much to say in this video. I think that's going to be for the majority of this series, but I'm going to quit yammering and let's dive right into the tutorial. Okay, so to begin with, again, this is first impression. I'm using the medium square gelish tips. These are very clear in terms of translucency, lack of better words, and they are very hard to the touch. So some of the jelly tips you are able to pretty easily make a crease down the center if you fold it, but these are a little tougher in terms of doing that. So they're quite stiff, and I noticed that they are not super catered for wide load nails. So if you have a really wide nail bed, you can see on my pinky there what's happening, then it's probably not going to be the best fit for you. So there are 10 sizes to these, and the zeros do not fit me on my thumbs. Very average, the width of the nails. Now I am using the etching liquid, which is the tip primer here, and the gel glue. Both of these I got off of Amazon. These are from BT Art, and I was really intrigued because gelish tips are not pre-etched, and we'll get to that later on in the video, but they're not primed or anything. You do have to work with them a little bit, and if you're going to want to use them and wear them for, say, probably the 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, you're going to want to etch them really well and dehydrate your nail bed before applying. So this first liquid, the primer, basically you rub the brush on there until it gets a cloudy sort of appearance. It's basically eating away at the gel, and then you go in with the glue, and you're going to want to get a nice little bead at the end, slide it onto your nail, and then cure it. Now, I'm not showing you guys the curing process at this point in the video because I didn't have the little individual curing lamp. I had to kind of rig the big full hand lamp. It was a hot mess, so you're definitely going to want to need that, but more on that later. So now that they're cured, and yes, I did use a gel base coat. I used the Beetles base coat that I used in my polygel video, and then of course the BT Art gel glue. Now once you've got them on there, you're going to obviously cure it for, I did 90 seconds on these, and then you're going to file the crap out of them. Now, How much you file is kind of up to you in my opinion, because I personally, if I'm going to wear nail extensions, I want it to be very thin. I do not like my nails to feel thick, even if it's an extension. So I use my wonderful little $8 nail Dremel there, I got from Amazon as well. And then I also used a buffing block to get it nice and smooth. And I edited out for the sake of quickness on the video, because I knew this was going to be pretty long when I was editing anyway. For the sake of quickness, it was a lot of filing to get it to the thinness that I like. So long story short, I'm going in with Beetle's top coat. Because of the thickness, I do have a touch of bowing out with this shape. And I also want to note that if you don't have very long nail beds too, these are incredibly long in my opinion to be considered a medium square shape, which I'm learning that artificial tips like these, they're pretty long in terms of what I consider short, if you will. So I wore those, and I wore those for about 3 weeks. I trimmed them and did my cuticles the week in between, and then now you can see here they're a touch shorter, and I need to remove them so I can do another fresh set. So this is essentially a very sped up process to what I did initially. I ordered a removing base, if you will, again from Amazon. I'll have all of these in my Amazon list in the description box. I used that, but before I did that process, which we'll get to in a moment, I filed it down as much as possible. Even though your jelly tips are on the thinner side, if you're like me and you filed them down to be like that, there's still a ton of gel, and thankfully they're soak off, but it's still a lot to come off even with a chemical remover like what I used. So that's it right there, and I just filed the crap out of it. Now, part of the instructions for this stuff, you're going to do your initial coat over what you have buffed, filed down, what have you, and you're going to let it sit for a few minutes, and then you're going to go back and do another coat. Then you let it soak for 5 to 6 minutes, and then you can scrape off that layer and retry all over again. Now you're going to keep repeating this process until you don't have any more of the artificial nail on you anymore. Personally, after using this product for 2 or 3 removals at this point, I don't like it to remove artificial nails. Or the jelly tips, excuse me. I don't like it. It's too much work. I think this is fantastic if you're going to take off gel polish, not gel extensions, basically. So is what it is, learning experience here. But I think it would be very, very effective and really neat to use if you're just going to go in and remove gel color from your natural nail, if you ask me. Here I am doing another coat of it, and just rinse and repeat constantly. Now this stuff is very hardcore. You do not want to get it on your skin. So I'm just going to caution you guys for that if you do want to try this stuff out. It's not super smelly. I don't think it had a very high odor to it. The gel itself, what makes up the jelly tips, whatever type of gel it is that they're using, that does smell a little bit, the gelish ones especially. And I wonder if it's because they're thicker. That part had a bit of a scent to it. So just wanted to throw that out there. Now I'm using a shovel tool to help remove some of the layers here. I want to also throw out a PSA too, that shovel tools, especially metal ones, you'll see 2 in this video, you can absolutely damage your nail bed with them. So I just want to gentle PSA, be very careful if you're removing like this, and just go gentle. I found that removing the part across your free edge, especially if you're doing what I'm doing and you're wanting to just grow out your nails in the meantime, that part's a little trickier to remove because it gets kind of stuck in like a sandwich almost with what you pressed out of the nail. So just little things that I've noticed here and there. Just be very gentle, be very careful. And of course, once you're done using this stuff, if you choose to use it, I would suggest really washing your hands as much as possible. Just get all this crap off of it. Definitely not good for your skin if you ask me, just based off of how it behaves with the gel and all of that. So I did speed this up big time for the sake of you guys not having to sit here for the 45 minutes it took me to do this. But you can see even speeding this up 4 times in speed, it's a lot of work. I found that the soak off method is the best to do this. Just my opinion. And later on, I did discover also you can use a peel-off base, which I'm not really going to show in this video. I do mention it towards the end, but yeah, there's a lot of ways you can mess with these, and I think it's really cool. It's almost like you can customize your technique and the products you use for what you want to do with it. So I definitely appreciate that, and the versatility if you just want to change it up. Now we're going to visit removal using the soak off method. So this is another set that I did using a different brand, which we'll go over that brand here once again in a little bit. But I wanted to show you guys what I did for my preferred method of removing these if you choose not to use a peel off base coat. So here I'm using the Dremel once again. This is what I'm going to call Old Faithful. I've had this Dremel for a long time, and it's been very good to me. On Amazon now, I think it's like 14 or 15 bucks, but I got it when it was $8. And it's been very good to me. It comes with little the heads to it. I got a lot of replacements for the filing, the hard filing ones, or rather the stronger grit. And it also has some of the nice smoother buffing metal ones. So I definitely recommend checking this one out if you're in the market for one. It's very affordable, and if you're careful with it, I think it can last you quite a bit. I did discover recently, as of I think it was last weekend, it's shorting out on me now because I kept bending where the wire attaches to the unit. So if you want to use this one, again, I think it's fantastic for the price. Just be careful how you store it and make sure you're giving plenty of clearance for where it attaches into the device. All right, so we filed, and I'm going to use straight up Vaseline. You want something really thick, viscous, very oily on your cuticles. This is just how I do it. This is how I also remove glitter polish on my natural nails, if you're curious. I shred up a cotton ball into the pieces that I need. The acetone you're seeing in my dapping dish has Baroness X's acetone antidote in it, and a fun scent, because when you're soaking like this, it's very pleasant to have something smelly good when you are working with this. So that's why it's blue. Otherwise, it's 100% acetone. And the clips I got from What's Up Nails. Again, I'll break all of the stuff down in the description box where I got all of this. And then just to be super extra, I go in with a glass dropper and I add even more softened acetone just to make sure that my cotton balls are super soaked. It removed quite a bit. Now this shovel tool I also got from What's Up Nails. I personally kind of prefer it for more heavy duty work like this than my rainbow one, because it's got quite a bit of weight to it. It's quite heavy, and it just feels very sturdy, like a straight up hardcore tool sort of feeling. And you can see with the soak off method how much between the weight of this shovel and the soaking off, how much comes off. And I just think it's more efficient than the whatever you want to call that. I'm going to call that the Doom paste or whatever, just for how it shreds through gel, but not in a satisfying manner, more of a slimy, goopy mess sort of manner. So basically, I scrape off what I can for my layers, or gently slide it off if I'm able to, and then I just repeat the process over and over again. This is, again, a little bit of a lengthy process, so you're going to want to grab a beverage of your choice, maybe some earbuds for a really nice podcast, and just zen out to your nail time when you do this. But it's definitely quicker than using the Doom paste. Your preference. Of course, if you choose to use a peel-off base coat, just please keep in mind, depending on what type you use, you can get maybe a couple of days of wear, if not probably a couple of hours. I found that Oont is really good for just a swatching session, and then they're going to pop right off when I'm finished. Here we are, just going more and more, scraping, lots and lots of work to do with that, but I'm preserving my natural nails, and I've got a bit of free edge here, and it's been pretty nice. Now, any blue that you're seeing on my skin or on my nail or anything, that's just from the colorant in the additive, and it just kind of sticks into the pores that we filed down from the gel, in case you're curious. And this is the finished product. Please keep in mind that we did do a major soak, and while the Vaseline saved my skin, my nails are quite dry, so that's what you're seeing there. They're not damaged. Now, this is a brand that I got off of Amazon. I love these. Once again, per Lisa's recommendation, these are pre-etched. They're much cheaper in terms of how much you get than gelish, and there are quite a bit more sizes to check out here. So if you have very wide nail beds like myself, 100,000% recommend trying these out. Just a quick comparison, they are softer if you fold it down the middle than gelish, and they're pre-etched, so they naturally have this matte finish, and they're etched and textured both on the underside and the top of the nail. It's really handy that I don't have to use that etching liquid. I don't have to rough it up a little bit, whatever. But you can see with the gelish on my thumb there's quite a bit of a gap, and it's not going to fit. To be completely fair, are a different shape, but I could still tell where it like widens out for your nail bed. It's just so much better. So these are the short coffin shape, and you can see just how much wider it is than the gelish. 100% recommend it. I really liked these. In fact, I like them so much that I almost don't want to stop doing the gel tips, especially for swatching, for nail art, what have you. It's just so nice that these are so quick, especially once you do it several times and you get the hang of it. This time I did remember to go ahead and try to size myself, which is something I did not do in the polygel video, and just kind of giving you guys an idea of how nice it is to size using how these are. I don't care for the idea that it doesn't have little divots in the box, the container that you're stored in, for each individual size. I do appreciate that they're on this little stick here, and it just makes it so much easier. I'm not having to tweeze out or pull out each individual size. We've got base coat on our nails. Again, this is the Beetles base coat that comes in the polygel kit that I bought. And now I'm going in with the BT Art gel glue. Honestly, I've done this several more times since doing this specific session here, and I want to note that I don't think I need the base coat anymore. I could probably just do the BT Art gel glue. So I'm using a Model 1s, if I'm saying that correct. I've always said it in my head when I read it, the Modelones. I don't know, it's silly. I have their single finger gel lamp, and this is a game changer. I 100% urge you, if you're going to do this, to get one of these lamps. You, in my opinion, have to have it. It makes your life so much easier, and it prevents air bubbles. So this one doesn't turn on when you run your finger under it, which is fine. It does stay on for 60 seconds. So I just turn it on. You're going to slide the nail once you've got the bead and quite a bit of glue. It is a bit of a learning curve to figure out how much glue exactly you need. You don't want it coming out of the nail on either side. Once you get the hang of it, it's not that big of a deal. You'll go super fast with it. Basically, I'm sliding it on my nail, making sure there's no air bubbles, and then I hold it there for 10 seconds. Once I have my entire hand done, then I'm going to put it in the full hand lamp, and then I'll do the full 90-second cure. And this is them all completely done, and then I did the full cure. Do not forget that full cure session, otherwise these are going to pop off really uneven. Now I'm going to go in and file. So this time I'm using my 180 file, and I'm just kind of taking down some of the length. These are shorts, but for these gel tips, for whatever reason, in my opinion, they're very, very long. So the short coffins are still, in my opinion, super crazy long, and I can't function like that. So I'm trimming down, and then I'm filing to make everything nice and even. I don't want anything super pointy. And then we're gonna go into filing some more. Please note, when I'm showing you guys my filing here, I am kind of weird in that when I file, I kind of have it like right in front of my face when I do it. So I'm kind of filing a little silly, in my opinion. This is not how I usually file, but I wanted you guys to get an idea of what exactly it is I'm doing to shape them and get them thin and even in how I prefer them to be. So now I'm taking my handy dandy little Dremel tool and I'm getting out some of the excess glue that is under my free edge. This probably shortens the amount of time that these will last for me, which is fine because I don't like them to be on longer than 2 weeks, even maybe a week and a half, especially because of the swatching. If I didn't swatch, I could probably leave these bad boys on for like 3-4 weeks, and I wouldn't mind the grow out for swatching. Yeah, I think it looks pretty gnarly if you don't keep up with it for, satisfying video purposes. But I definitely want to get some of that extra glue out, anything that squeezed out from the side. Once you do this quite a bit of times, more repetition, you're not really going to have to do this because you'll figure out exactly how much of a bead of gel glue to do underneath the tips. And then I'm going in with the Beetles glossy top coat, and I'm just kind of wrapping it up, and now you can see that they go from that etched matte looking appearance to a completely see-through sort of appearance. I really like this shape because I typically file the sides to be kind of tapered like that anyway, so the coffin shape is probably what I'll be sticking with for quite some time, though honestly I'm kind of curious to try the almonds. We'll see if I get a little more adventurous. And this is the finished product. You can see how nice that looks. Over time of me doing this, I think they look a little silly clear. I appreciated it before, but I think if you have an actual gel polish over this or even a normal polish over these, it looks fantastic. That is my experience in a nutshell. I feel like I've gotten even better, especially because some parts of this video, especially the beginning, was recorded several weeks ago. Do I recommend this process? 10 out of 10, yes, because since recording these little snippets for this video, I have also done UNT peel off base underneath, and it's worked fantastic, and it will last me, I think I've gotten at the very max about 8 hours of wear from the tips. So I think if you wanted to wear them for a little bit longer, you might be able to just do like a stripe down in the center of your nail. That way the corners are able to adhere for the gel, if that makes sense. But I think there's a ton more versatility to visit for these, but if you're looking for a way to have longer nails or just even for an event, things like that, I really recommend this stuff. But I will note the downside to this is that I do think it's absolutely an investment, because it's not just the tips that you have to figure out which brand is going to fit your nail beds. Wide load nails here or, a lot more narrow nail beds, just really depends. So, there's a lot to think about, and of course I highly recommend the extra tools that aren't necessarily required but make your life a lot easier if you're going to start wearing jelly tips. So there's a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I think for episode 3 I want to do something maybe nail arty, kind of, maybe some nail foils, I don't know. If you guys are enjoying this series, please let me know in the comment section what you guys would like to see for the rest of the episodes. Should I do another revisiting or whatnot? We'll see. So thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.